The cabin door exploded open just as I laid the evidence on the table, and Beverly Parker came charging in like a storm in heels, waving fake seizure papers and screaming that she was taking my property. She had no clue who was sitting across from me at that kitchen table, the Michigan Attorney General himself. That was the moment I realized this nightmare wasn't about to swallow me whole, it was about to turn on her. 8 months earlier, I thought I'd already hit rock bottom. Divorce had gutted me. The court painted me as unstable, and my time with my daughter Emma had been cut to every other weekend supervised like I was some sort of criminal. PTSD from 2 tours in Afghanistan doesn't exactly win you Dad of the Year. My ex-wife Judy made sure the judge knew every trigger and panic attack I'd ever had. So I retreated to my grandfather's cabin on Lake Michigan, the one place where breathing came easier, where the world was quiet enough to keep the nightmares at bay. That cabin wasn't just a house, it was my last tether to family legacy sanity. And then Beverly Parker arrived. The first time I saw her, she stepped out of a silver sedan in pressed slacks and a blazer clipboard clutched like a weapon. She looked like she'd walked straight out of a corporate boardroom and decided my lakeside cabin needed to be conquered. "Mr. Rogers," she called out, sugar in her voice but venom in her eyes. "I'm Beverly Parker, Neighborhood Association Chairwoman. We're here for an emergency property assessment." Behind her, a nervous man, Frank Martinez, unloaded surveying equipment like he'd rather be anywhere else. I tried to tell her I hadn't requested any assessment, but she cut me off like a blade. "We have documented evidence of an unstable veteran living in a housing code violation. Does your daughter know Daddy's breaking county regulations?" Hearing Emma's name used as ammunition made my hands shake, not from PTSD, but from pure rage. After they left, I circled my property trying to shake it off, and that's when I noticed the boundary marker looked off, too close to my cabin. I found an old family photo that proved the line had been moved, but then the self-doubt crept in. Was it PTSD making me paranoid? My phone buzzed. Judy, texting HOA, called. Emergency meeting about Emma's safety. And across the road, Beverly sat in her sedan dragging her finger across her throat while staring straight at me. That was just the opening shot. Within days, she launched a campaign that would have impressed military strategists. Flyers plastered the neighborhood safety alert unstable veteran with documented episodes. Cropped photos of me mid-panic attack, hands trembling, eyes wide. She hijacked a PTA meeting, waving forged reports telling parents I had weapons that Emma was at risk. I walked into a room full of neighbors staring at me like I was a ticking bomb. The fallout was brutal. People I'd known for years crossed the street to avoid me. The hardware store clerk wouldn't meet my eye. Even my mailman left packages at the end of the driveway like I was contagious. Worst of all, Emma came to me sobbing, "Kids at school say you're dangerous. Daddy, is it true?" I hugged her, swore I'd never hurt anyone, especially her, but I saw the doubt flicker in her eyes. That night, sitting alone with my medication bottle in front of me, I started wondering if maybe everyone else was right. Maybe Judy, maybe the judge, maybe Beverly. Maybe Emma really was safer without me. For the first time, I considered walking away from the fight. Then, a government sedan pulled into my driveway. Out stepped a man with sharp eyes and the calm authority of someone used to people listening. "Mr. Rogers," he said, flashing a card. "Henry Stone, State Office." He asked about Beverly. He wanted details, property lines, survey methods, her tactics. When I mentioned the shifted boundary marker, he scribbled notes with precision that told me this wasn't his first rodeo. Before leaving, he said, "Document everything. Photos, recordings, witnesses. Don't let her isolate you." I didn't know then that Henry was the Attorney General, but his words gave me something I'd lost a reason not to give up. And then Frank Martinez came back, shaking, guilty, desperate. "Scott, she's been paying me under the table to fake surveys. I kept copies. All of it." He handed me an envelope that felt heavier than lead. Inside, falsified maps, fake easements, payment records, even folders of victim profiles. Families robbed one property line at a time, each loss small enough to slip under the radar until you saw the pattern. Sterling Holdings, LLC. Beverly's company gobbling up land like a parasite. My file was there too. Photos of me and Emma fishing, divorce papers, medical notes she had no right to. She'd studied me like prey. That's when the switch flipped. No more victim. I was going to fight back. At the neighborhood barbecue, Beverly was holding court bragging about property values. I walked straight up with Frank's documents in hand. "Beverly, let's talk about Sterling Holdings and your fraudulent surveys." The crowd froze. Gasps as papers passed from hand to hand, neighbors realizing their backyards, their gardens, their wells had all been stolen piece by piece. Beverly's face twisted from confidence to panic. And then Emma ran up, not to me, but to Beverly. "Miss Parker, is my daddy dangerous like everyone says?" And Beverly, with her crocodile smile, said, "Sweetheart, your daddy is very sick. He needs help, but he's not getting it." Before I could react, a county truck pulled up. Out stepped Tom Williams, Beverly's ex-husband. She lit up like he was her cavalry, but he looked at the evidence and said, "Bev, this is fraud. You can't keep doing this." Her last lifeline snapped in front of everyone. From there, Beverly unraveled. She went live on social media waving the same forged documents, bragging that Sterling Holdings was hers, practically confessing to years of fraud in front of hundreds of witnesses. Henry called it a gift. But Beverly wasn't finished. She convinced herself Henry was some mid-level bureaucrat sent to back her up. She hired a process server, polished her lies, and planned to serve seizure papers at my cabin papers she thought Henry would validate. Henry told me, "Let her make her case, let her talk. Then we end this." The next afternoon, Beverly strutted into my cabin in a navy suit, leather briefcase clutched like a prize. "Mr. Rogers," she cooed, "this property poses immediate safety risks. Sterling Holdings has full legal authority for seizure." She slid the forged documents across the table to Henry, smiling like she'd already won. Henry stood slowly pulling out a badge. "Mrs. Parker, I'm not a county official. I'm Henry Stone, Michigan Attorney General." The silence was electric. Beverly's face drained of color. The process server nearly bolted. Henry laid out the evidence bank record survey maps, even her own live stream confessions. Beverly fumbled for her phone, tried calling Tom. His voicemail cut her down. "I've been cooperating with the state for 8 months. That broke her. She lunged at the table screaming, "If I destroy this, there's no case." I grabbed her wrist. She shrieked, 20 years I built this. 20 years planning every piece." Her confession poured out in a frenzy. Every word another nail in her coffin. Henry didn't flinch. He pulled out the cuffs with steady hands. "Beverly Parker, you're under arrest for systematic fraud, conspiracy, trespassing, and obstruction of justice." The metallic click of those handcuffs was the sweetest sound I'd ever heard. And just like that, the tyrant who'd turned my life upside down was done. Sometimes standing up to a bully isn't just about saving yourself, it's about making sure they never hurt anyone else again.